everybody. Welcome back to the It Takes Grit podcast with me, Rebecca Louise. I am so excited that you are here today, ready to work on your mindset, your grit, your resilience to help you get the life that you are looking for. All right, today we are talking about mindset mastery. Oh, yes, the power of the positive thinking. And I love this topic, as you can probably already imagine, but I know that it's not always easy to have this power of the positive thinking, because it's like, well, how? How can you be positive in these situations, Rebecca? How can you ever look at something as light rather than dark? Well, it takes time. It takes building the muscle. It takes grit. But I'm telling you that if you focus on it and you are open, this is one of the biggest things, right? If you're not open to mastering your mindset, it's going to be very challenging to ever change. But if you allow me to coach you, I always tell my team members, you got to be willing, coachable, and hungry. And if you are those three things, it's amazing what you can do just by the power of the positive thinking. So first of all, we got to identify negative thought patterns, right? We do have to identify that. So maybe there is something that you always associate something negative with, or you just have this pattern that when you do a workout, you beat yourself up afterwards, or maybe you eat something that maybe isn't the best on your nutrition plan, and you change and you say, you have a negative thought pattern with that. Maybe it's, you feel like you're not as far as you need to get in life. And again, you start to have negative thought patterns. What we have to do to make a change, it doesn't matter if you think that like, oh, Rebecca, but you're wrong, right? Unfortunately, no, I am right at this one, because I'm the one that lives in a positive state every day. Why? Because I changed my negative thought patterns. And why would you want to live in a negative state? I don't want to live in a negative state. I want to live in a happy state. I want to feel great. I want to be able to have great energy so that I can impact the world. I want to be able to live every day as if it was my last. And that comes with having a positive mindset. And that starts with identifying any of your negative thought patterns that you have. So we have to replace them with positive, obviously, and constructive thoughts, because negative thought patterns aren't actually constructive. There is nothing that is really helpful or really good when it comes to negative patterns of behavior or negative thought patterns. And so we have to have constructive thoughts. So even if you're like, oh, well, Rebecca, like, you can't just change to being positive. Well, you could have constructive thoughts, and constructive thoughts, if they're constructive, they're going to be more positive, right? So however you want to look at it, it depends how you want to live your life. Even if you feel like negative thought patterns, like how could, it's okay to have negative thought patterns. Yes, it's okay to have a negative thought, and then to realize that, hey, is this going to help me or hinder me today? Is this going to help me or hinder me, right? So what you want to think about is replacing them with at least a constructive thought, right? Replacing them with a constructive thought. Because what we want to really focus on is positive visualization techniques, right? And this is going to actually influence real world results. You already know people who are negative all the time. Bad stuff just keeps happening to them. Why? It's because they just keep projecting negativity. It's like the more negative that they are, the more the world just, gives them more negativity back. And it just keeps on going, more negativity, more negativity, more negativity, right? However, if you want to really have a different life and you want things to come to you that are good, you have to start to visualize positive things. So even if you're having a sad day, it's okay. You can feel sad. You can have those negative emotions. And then it's like, hey, how do I master my mindset to being more happy? Because if today was my last day, would I be proud of how I lived it? Would I want this to be my very last day? Life can be short. You never know when your last day is. So never leave that day being negative. Don't ever have negative thought patterns on a day. Replace them with positive and replace them with constructive thoughts. So we want to visualize the positive things in our life, because it's going to influence real world results. Because what you put out is what you attract in. It's the same with a group of friends. If you are a negative friend or you're just a negative person, you're going to attract a whole bunch of negative people in your life. But if you're happy and positive and successful, you are going to have a whole bunch of great people in your life that are going to continue to help you raise the standard, and you're all going to be thinking in that positive mindset moving forward. And we need affirmations for success, right? It's not about being like overkill and saying, gosh, my God, I got to do, I got to tell myself all day long, like how amazing I am. That's not what we want to do. What we want to focus on is those affirmations that we get to speak to ourselves that encourage that power of the positive thinking. Because you know that your language becomes your experience. So if you say negative things to yourself, what is going to happen is you are reinforcing a story, a negative story, and a story that is not true. You're going to keep on reiterating those over and over and over again. And all of a sudden, it's going to be something that you're going to believe. That's what the sad and the crazy thing is the more negative that you are, the more that you put that into your body, the more that you reiterate that negative story, that false story, you're actually going to start to believe it. And you're going to go down this vortex that you just can't get out of. So what's so key and so important is that you need to be able to give yourself those positive affirmations for success to get you outside the mindset of those negative thought patterns, right? Really replacing those with constructive thoughts. And surrounding yourself with positivity, like I kind of mentioned just a second ago, is one of the key factors to getting that mindset mastery. I don't care how strong you think you are, or like how invincible, or how much grit. If you have a negative spouse, a negative family member, a negative friend that you spend time with, what's going to happen is that you are going to see that you are going to become that, because it just is an influence. It just literally, it's going to drip feed you a little bit by little bit. It's almost like you have you have like a drink, right, with alcohol in it, and you're the Sprite, and somebody else is the alcohol, and every single time that they come to see you, they just put a little bit of their alcohol into your Sprite. And all of a sudden, you had this non-alcoholic Sprite that tasted good, and now it's got a quarter of vodka in it. And then the next time it's got half a vodka, and it's got 3/4 of the vodka. And all of a sudden, you didn't even realize that this Sprite had turned into a vodka Sprite, because you kept spending time with that person. And even though that you don't feel like they're influencing you or they're making a difference, they're coming and they're pouring a little bit of their poison into you. And so you have to make a decision, like, what's the most important thing for you? Is it to master your mindset? Well, you have to be strong to do that. And you have to be able to cut people out of your life who are not giving you the positive reinforcements and actually wanting to focus on the power of the positive thinking. Whoever you're around and you surround yourself with makes such a massive difference to your whole life. And then I know it from my own experience, right? When I'm hanging around other driven, ambitious people, it inspires me to want to do more. It gives me a more belief in myself. I feel good about myself. I feel good about who I'm hanging around with. And, if you've hung around with people that, maybe are negative about your new business or negative about you having a new workout routine, they're the types of people that literally drain people's energy. And I believe that people would be a lot more successful out there if they just cut off a couple of people who were not actually giving them what they needed to be successful. So many people go, oh, well done, these people just, got a brand new home. But most of the time when you're in a home, you're already in like 200,000 plus debt. But then you open up a business for $100 and everyone's like, whoa, that's risky. You're like, what? Like $100 compared to $200,000? Like, let's be real about this. So you just got to remember who you're taking advice from. Like my mentor said right at the beginning, he said, Rebecca, don't take advice from someone you wouldn't trade places with. And that stuck with me like glue at the beginning. And that allowed me to make decisions and focusing on who I wanted to spend time with, because it was very obvious that I didn't want to spend time with these people because I didn't want the life that they had. And so that's why it's important to really just reflect on like who you have in your area right now. So a little bit of homework is, number one, do you need to rewire your brain? Do you need to start to go, hey, I'm actually somebody who has a lot of negative thought patterns, and I get to replace them with positive ones. I get to replace them with constructive thoughts. That's the first question, is do you need to kind of rewire your brain, right? And then that next step is, well, what is the first step that you get to take? Maybe it's, hey, I've been hanging out with this person, and like, I know that they're not good for me, and I know it's going to be tough, but I need to distance myself. Or maybe it's like, hey, I need to start practicing more visualization techniques and being able to like really visualize what I want in the future rather than having these negative thought patterns consume me. Maybe it's that you need to be gratitude. But make sure that you do, because there's a reason that I give you a little bit of homework to do, just one thing, one or two questions at the end, but it's up to you to put that into process. I can give you all of the tools in the world. I can share with you, doing this and X and Y and Z and give you all these tools. But at the end of the day, it's not me who makes the change for you. I can give you the tools, but you're the one that actually takes the tools and does the work. So next time that you're thinking, I don't even know, how I'm going to be able to like change, my negative behavior. Think about what is the one thing that you could do right now. Just one thing. Don't try and overanalyze it and change everything at once. Just think about what is that one thing that I can change. And also just be honest with yourself and say, hey, do I need to rewire my brain? Because if you're not honest with yourself on that, it's going to be really hard to make any changes, and you will be stuck exactly where you are. All right, awesome job for showing up today. I'm so excited of all the growth of the It Takes Grit podcast. Thank you for watching. Make sure that you share this with a friend, and we will see you on next week's episode.